It's already time for round 3 in the World Endurance Championship. Let's talk a little bit about the 6 hours of Spa, the last proper shakedown they're going to get before the big one, the 24 hours of Le Mans in 2025. And like I said, it's a 6 hours race around the circuit Spa-Francorchamps, a wonderful venue to play host to the third round of WEC, a classic venue. And let's talk about what we've got for the weekend. Starting off with practice happening on May the 8th. That is going to be at 11:30 a.m. local time with FP2 and 4:30 p.m. local time. Then on the Friday, FP3 is 11 a.m. local time. Qualifying starting at around 2:30 with the LMGT3s, and then about 3:30 for hypercars. The hyperpole will follow after the qualifying sessions. Then on the race, it is going to be happening on the Saturday on May 10th, starting at 2 p.m. local time. Now, if you're in the UK, you just take an hour off of it. So, for example, that means the qualifying will be starting from around 1:30 on Friday, and the race starting at about 1 o'clock on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to having a look at how this race pans out. It is a third race on as many different days of the week this season, with the Qatar 1812 happening on a Friday and the 6 hours of Imola happening on a Sunday. It's not really that straightforward, given that, the 25 hours of Le Mans will be taking place over 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday. But whoever says that life has to be nice and straightforward. And let's talk about the lineup changes, because there are a few. Firstly, it's IMSA weekend as well, so Matthew Jaminet and Matt Campbell are not going to be in the Porsche Penske Motorsport 963s. Porsche were originally going to just enter 2 drivers in the cars, but they've had a really good idea. They have brought Nico Muller in to be in the number 5 car for this event, whilst going into the sister car, the number 6, is somebody who is going to be going to the 24 hours of Le Mans. He's a Porsche driver elsewhere. He is a world champion, a reigning world champion with Porsche as well. And that is Pascal Wehrlein. The Formula E reigning champion is going to be going into a 963 at Le Mans. He will be alongside Nazar and Tandy, who are currently the series leaders in WEC. Oh, sorry, not WEC, IMSA even. And yeah, he's going to use this event as WEC experience the 963 ahead of the 24. They're not the only changes though. The Groves, Stephen and Brenton will be stepping into the number 60 Iron Lynx Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo. Now, part of that is because of the injuries for Claudio Schiavone. But at the same time, what it is also going to be is this Matteo Cresoni is stepping aside as well. Now, the Groves, as I'll link the Daily Sports Car article, the Sports Car 365 article. I've got a Daily Sport article down there as well that we'll talk about in a moment. Does point out that they have got experience in running in the Spa 24. It is also to help them build up for Le Mans, a bit like with Pascal Wehrlein. Whilst Martin Berry is going to be going into the 61 for the remainder of the... is it for the remainder, or is it for all but one, I believe, of the remaining rounds of the WEC season? He's got 5 rounds lined up, and that is going to be taken over from Christian Reed, who was owing Iron Lynx a bit of a favour at the start of the season. And yeah, that means that we're going to have a handful of changes to the lineups for the 6 hours of Spa. But we also know the balanced performance changes for this weekend, and I will go through them quickly. The Alpine is going to have a minimum dry weight that's 1 kilo heavier, but it's also going to have a bit of a power buff below 250k, and the power gain as well is going to be turned up a little bit as well. So it's still going to be a negative gain, it's still going to be a bit of a power loss after 250k, but it's going to be less noticeable. On the flip side though, they will lose 5 megajoules of energy, and the refueling additional docking time will be 1 second. The Aston Martin Valkyrie will lose 16 kilos from its minimum dry weight. It will gain 15 kilowatts of power below 250 kilometers per hour, but the power gain above 250 is detuned a bit. They're going to be down 2.7%. They will, however, have a higher maximum stint energy. Remember, the Aston Martin, the stint energy is essentially fuel, but it's a calculation that involves just basically fuel with some kind of balanced performance in there. But that's because it's the only non-hybrid of the hypercar class. The BMW will gain 7 kilos. It will lose 10 kilowatts below 250 K, and it will actually have a net power gain now. It's got an increase of 2.8%, but it means that it now sits at 1.2. The stint energy does not change the BMW, but there is a refueling additional time of 1 second. The Caddy will gain a kilo, lose 5 kilowatts below 250. It will also have a further buff of 1.8% above 250. It will lose 1 megajoule from its stint energy time, and it will have a 1 second additional time in the pit stops. The Ferrari will be 12 kilos heavier, perhaps unsurprising given the fact that the Lebop seems quite favourable for them. They will also lose 19 kilowatts below 250k. However, the power gain over 250 is going to be turned up by 5.5%. The deploy speed in the dry and in the wet is also going to be at 190 kilometers per hour. Their maximum stint energy has been reduced, and their additional docking time is 1.2 seconds. Peugeot have gotten away with quite a bit, actually. Their weight is unchanged, their power below 250 is unchanged, and above 250 they've got what appears to be a slight buff, though it's still minus 3.7 it works out as. They have similar deploy speeds to the Ferrari. They've also lost 1 megajoule even from the energy, and also have a 1.2 second additional time in the pit stops. Porsche gain 2 kilos, lose 9 kilowatts below 250. They are going to be turned up a little bit above 250, 2.2%, and that is a gain of 3.4. They will have a maximum energy of 905 megajoules, which is up 1. It'll also have 1 second additional fueling time. Whilst Toyota gains 4 kilos, loses 20 kilowatts below 250, but has a massive buff after 250. It will be an 8.3% power gain after the 250 mark. They also will be bound by the same deploy speed as the Ferrari and the Peugeot, given that they are the LMHs. They've lost a couple of megajoules of stint energy, and they will also be bound by the 1.2. In terms of the weather, it looks like it will be cool and dry throughout the weekend. And when I say cool, it looks like the air temperatures around Spa-Francorchamps will be peaking at about 12 on the Thursday, 14 on the Friday, 17 on the Saturday. Sadly, it peaks at 19 on the Sunday. It looks like there's 0% chance of precipitation throughout pretty much the whole weekend, though. So, if you were hoping for a wet, dry Spa race, have a go at it in LMU. It's possibly going to be bone dry the entire weekend for WEC. But turn the clocks back 12 months, and it was an underdog win, in a way, for the number 12 Hard Team Jota 963 of Callum Ilott and Will Stevens. They won by 12 seconds over the number 6 PPM machine, whilst third and fourth were Ferraris, the 50 ahead of the 51. Top 5 was rounded out by Proton competition, meaning it was a good day for Porsches all round. 3 of the top 5, and from 3 different outfits as well. 2 of the more private ones, and then 1 of the works ones. The Toyotas were down in 6th and 7th, whilst the pack was rounded out by the AF Corsa, the Alpine, and the Peugeot in the top 10. Before you had BMW, Alpine, BMW, Peugeot, and the Isuzu Fushini was 3 laps down at the end of the race. In LMGT3, it was the Mante EMA ahead of Mante Pure Racing, with Iron Lynx's Lamborghini at the time, the 3rd place ahead of United Autosports McLaren, and then the Iron Dames' Lamborghini. And in terms of ones to watch, therefore, it is tricky to predict, largely because, for example, the Cadillacs did run well, but Haas Team Jota also ran well. Will the two of them merging together mean that it's going to be a pretty good power track for the Cadillac this weekend? That's one of the things that we'll have to wait and see. At the same time, with all the BOP changes, does it benefit teams like Cadillac, and does it punish teams like Ferrari? Ferrari didn't have the best of qualifyings last year, but they had a pretty decent race, all things considered. Whilst in the LMGT3, we have some changes around in terms of the different manufacturers. So Iron Daves, for example, going across to a Porsche. Would the 46 potentially be in good form? They have been to start off this year, and they were in good form this time last year. These are all the questions that we're going to need to try to find answers for over the weekend. So let's see what we've got. But please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining. I hope to have a review out in the coming days. It will probably be early next week so that I can catch up on all the racing in one hit. Until then, it's bye for now.